Hello, friends and comrades. I'm Dylan, Secretary for DSA Ventura County, and I'm joined with another wonderful guest here, my comrade Josh, our membership coordinator for DSA Ventura County, who was elected into the steering committee in 2024. In his leadership and aptness for onboarding new members, he has contributed to a notable increase in the chapter's membership. Welcome, Josh.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to take too much credit. Definitely the Zoran Mamdani victory boosted those numbers. But if you want to give me credit, I'll take it.
Yes, but you reeled them in.
Yeah, yes. Of course. Yeah, just by being there.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background. Who are you? How are you politically radicalized? And what brought you to DSA?
So I am a worker first and foremost. I've worked most of my time. I've also been a student. Right now I'm a graduate student training for marriage and family therapy. And I'm also, as Dylan said, the membership coordinator for DSA Ventura County. So pretty busy schedule. What sort of radicalized me, I guess, I wouldn't call it like one specific moment. It's just sort of like the slow accumulation of things of like, oh, well, you know what? Like the 1%, they do kind of have a little bit too much, you know? And slowly like, well, there's certain people who have power and they don't want to give us the power. They have too much money, and there's a lot of people I look around and see they don't have like basic necessities. And while people have like, $100 million yachts, and it's just like a slow accumulation of like realizing these facts and kind of seeing who was standing on what side of those statements and like throwing or the critiques that were available.
Right.
I think I landed at socialism slowly but surely. I think it was also like a bit of just like, I was open-minded too. I used to be like, I grew up like conservative Christian, and I was always kind of like intellectually curious. And I think that kind of led me down the right direction of like, okay, well, like what do these people have to say?
Yeah.
And like, more than just being like listening to like a couple of things on YouTube or Instagram about like this or that, like actually like wanting to read them. At first to sort of critique these things, but once I actually read like socialist ideas or even like, mostly just socialist ideas and like from the mouths of socialists, I was like, I was actually more and more convinced that way. So it was like a slow accumulation.
Yeah, you figure out we're all normal people with just different ideas.
Yeah, you guys don't have like horns hidden underneath like your hats and stuff. So
yeah, for sure. So given that, what is socialism mean to you?
I think when I first was introduced to socialism, it was like the Bernie brand of socialism, which some people would call like social democracy, where it's like wealth redistribution, universal healthcare, education for all, not anti-immigration, just generally like respectful towards people and empathetic towards people. And I don't think that's not the case for socialism, but I think it's a lot more than that. It's more than just a redistributive policies. It's about kind of just completely changing our relations, our social relations to labor, to our workplace, to the economy, where we're giving more power to people through democratic means. Have you ever been at a workplace where like the boss hands down some policy and you're like, everybody who works for is like, this is the stupidest policy ever.
Many such cases.
Yeah. I think in a socialist workplace or a place that was under socialism, those workers would be like, yeah, no, that's a stupid policy. We actually don't want this. We're the ones on the floor, the factory floor. We're the ones on the front lines of, the fast food line or whatever. Like we kind of know what works, and here's actually what we want to establish as a policy versus something that's top down, like handcrafted by people who haven't actually done the work themselves.
Yeah. So like them being in a union and being able to decide their relationship to the means of production, democratically. Yeah,
it's more than wealth redistribution, which that is definitely part of it. But I think some people think that's where socialism ends, which it's not. Right.
Yeah. There's a lot more to it, and DSA is the place to be as far as socialism goes, I believe. And we've been talking to members all over the county. While you're the membership coordinator, you've also been busy with members tabling at college campuses across the county. And how have your interactions been with students and staff?
I think my favorite story to tell is like that when I'm talking to students, like usually a good segue into like someone who's like, I don't really know what socialism is like, okay, have you heard of Bernie Sanders? Because then you can start from there. the funny story is that like because these are like students who are like 17, 18 years old.
Right.
So many of them are like, no, I've never heard of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, I'm like so old. I'm
That's
so close
crazy.
to death now.
We're over the hill, man.
Yeah. So the idea that people don't know who Bernie Sanders is insane. But I
Yeah.
mean, the 2020 election, the last time he was like really out there was 5 years ago. So if they're 18 years old, they were 13, probably
true.
not involved in politics. But there's that cohort of people, and then there's people who are just like generally interested in like, okay, well, anti-ICE, especially with ICE activity. Like I think a lot of people were politicized through that. Especially going to like Oxnard College, like a lot of students there they're migrants or children of migrants. They know people who are undocumented or are undocumented themselves. So kind of seeing that, like, okay, that's like a starting point for a lot of people is like anti-ICE activity. And generally there is like a hunger for something, to do something. And I think a lot of the time they feel powerless, like, oh, what can one individual do?
Yeah.
And I think like reflecting on that, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we live in an individualistic society where it's all about like, oh, like, you know, the atomized person, like what can one person do? And then there's not really a broader like, oh, how do we look at ourselves in the context of other people, you know? Like the straw that broke the camel's back, it wasn't that one straw that did it. It's, you know, the accumulation of straws on the camel's back. So how can, I always try to like think of it like, how can I get someone on board with the idea that, how can you be the straw that breaks capitalism's back? You know, like, you know, maybe you're not the one that does it, but after enough people get on board, like that can happen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm an English major, and one of my favorite quotes regarding that is from Ursula Le Guin, where she said, capitalism is everywhere and it seems unstoppable, but so did the divine right of kings. And I think that is like, you know, people lived for generations thinking that the monarchy, the divine right of kings would never end. And then they thought that until it happened, you know, and revolutions across the Europe and, you know, Eastern Europe and everywhere, you know, threw off the crown. Eventually, you know, capitalism isn't a sustainable system. Eventually it's going to collapse. And depending on how it collapses is dependent on how organized the people are, right? What is going to come after that? And, but that's, you know, that's long distance talking, you know, and it's important that we come together as communities and look after each other. And, you know, so you've been on campuses interacting with these students, and you're also a graduate student yourself.
Yeah.
Do you get the sense that your fellow students have hope for the future?
I think maybe because I'm in a graduate program, it's a little different. Like there's more buy-in at that point. Like I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think like something would come out of it.
Yeah.
I think going to college in general, like it implies that, oh, like there's a future that I'm working towards. But in terms of like a future that they're happy about politically, where like, oh, like, you know, like, is ICE activity ever going to end? Like, is the American empire ever going to stop, you know, bombing other countries? I don't know if that's the case. I have some people who are like really like fired up, and others who just kind of take a step back and there's nothing, you know, nothing I can do. Like, I'm just going to kind of keep my head down. Typically it's, you know, it doesn't really affect them right now, or it doesn't affect them as strongly as like getting smacked in the face does, you know?
Yeah, and I think, you know, there are a lot of people right now, especially people of color and undocumented folks, who are rightfully scared of what this country is becoming and are kind of scared to get involved in politics or community organizing. And, you know, because they might be targeted because of the color of their skin or their legal status or the language they speak. What would you say to those folks that are scared for one reason or another to get involved locally?
I think as far as being like undocumented, like that's something I don't want to speak to because I'm not myself undocumented, and I think there's a lot more severe consequences to speaking out and being undocumented. Although there's a lot of brave people who do so anyway. But as far as like being a person of color, like, I mean, we've all heard the quote, like, first they came for these people and I didn't say anything. Like, they're already kind of coming after you. Like even if it's not directly, it's indirectly, or it's the people around you, or it's your family, your friends. Even if it doesn't affect you directly, I think getting involved is super important. I think like, you know, there's a lot of anxiety involved too with like what do I do? What can I do? And my kind one of my slogans is like action is the antidote to anxiety. You know, if you feel like I don't know what to do, getting involved, you know,
100%.
joining up with people, meeting people who are like-minded and actually want to do something, like that changes you. That changes like how you perceive politics in general. Like we have Coffee with Comrades, these socials. I'm gonna plug that. Come to our Coffee with Comrades. Come to our Cold Ones with Comrades on Fridays as well. But we have those, and like there are times where I'm like, I'm so tired. Like, you know, this DSA stuff. It's volunteer work. You know, I'm not getting paid for it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
No
like,
Soros money here.
no Soros money. Yeah. I wish. But you know, there's no money like to be made by volunteering like this.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're like, I'm a little burnt out. I go to one of these socials, I meet everybody, I talk to everybody. It gets me fired back up again. And I think that if you find yourself in a position where, you know, like it's just there's just so much in the world that's like sucks the soul out of you. I think coming to one of these and just like talking to people and just like interacting with people, and then at the end of it being like, yeah, okay, like what next? Like what do we do now? You know, I think that's super important.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I first joined. I mean, it was in the middle of the pandemic, and you know, there were times where some of the members would get together and we would social distance and talk, and it was those first moments talking with folks like in person, getting to socialize when the world was shutting down, that I was able to start building community where, you know, people from all different backgrounds and, you know, occupations and cultures, and getting to know everyone. And those are the moments where I first got engaged, really. And, you know, we were talking about campuses, and, you know, how do you think DSA and why DSA, the youth wing of our organization, can better reach out and empower students to join current labor and political struggles?
I think one avenue that's possible is a lot of the campuses, at least here in Ventura County, have jobs training programs. Like they teach, you know, people to be repairmen or mechanics.
Sure.
There's a lot of nurses involved. These are jobs that are like often, you know, there's HVAC too training. So there's a lot of people on campus who are like heading towards jobs that are unionized. I think one way to reach students is, okay, like we, you know, socialists encourage people to join unionized fields to like kind of promote like stronger militancy within those unions.
Yeah.
Like, well, why not just aim at people who are there and just teach them like, hey, listen, if you want the most out of your union, it's going to take some militancy. It's going to take more than just relying on the union to do things, because the union's only as strong as the members that make it up.
Right.
And if members aren't willing to fight, if they're not willing to strike, if they're not willing to, you know, say suck it to the bosses, like then the union doesn't have as much power to negotiate. So just kind of maybe, I think, reaching out to those students, being like, hey, you have a vested interest in this. I think that's one thing that's important, is to highlight that there is self-interest involved. I think a lot of people who critique socialism, they think, oh, well, people only care about themselves. People are only self-interested. Greed is good, you know? It's like, yeah, you can make a socialist case that involves self-interest. You know, like if your boss is taking, you know, 90% of the money that you as a worker have created through your labor, you have an interest in being like, no, actually, I want more of that cut. I want more and more. And a socialist would say, you actually probably deserve all of that because you're the one who created that wealth in the first place.
It's class consciousness, right? Like you're advocating, you know, you look around yourself and you see you and yourself and your fellow workers getting screwed over one reason or another, be it pay or working conditions.
Yeah.
And you advocate for yourself and your class to for their interest, which is also yours.
Right.
And, you know, there are very few people that are in the ruling class and the wealth, you know, the bourgeoisie in this country. And there are a lot of people who think that, you know, there's a great quote, I forget who it's by, but it was like the reason why more people aren't, you know, class conscious, you know, aware of their class is because they think they're temporarily broke millionaires. And it's like, you know, if they just looked around, you know, it's like, hello, like we're all we're all here in the same mess. And
Right.
you're not going to get up there. I mean, these billionaires, they have more wealth than they'll ever know what to spend.
Yeah, there's the idea that their station in life is temporary, and that know after such and such amount of time, the idea of meritocracy. If I work hard enough, I'll be up there too. Which it's not true. So many people are paycheck away from just not being able to pay rent.
Yeah.
I'll end it there.
Yeah. And I feel like, a lot of people are really scared right now with the direction the country is going in multiple different ways. I mean, ICE has been terrorizing communities across the country, Ventura County included. I mean, we have a large day laborer and agriculture worker population who has been affected by ICE raids. And, they've been separating thousands of working families and have been gunning people down in the street now. In this month, there were already several cases, and with Renee Good in Minneapolis, and there were some folks in Portland who were shot at, and it's just getting worse. And, I think one of the major steps that most folks can take, it's the very first steps, is just to know their neighbors. I feel like, especially in suburbia, like Ventura County is largely suburban, a lot of folks are, singled out in between their four walls in their house. Right. And they don't, and we can talk about the way suburbs are designed to, isolate people, but there's, it's hard to build community times, but one of the easy steps you can always take is just get to know your neighbors. Yeah. And, whether it's in your apartment complex or your neighborhood, know who those people are. And, when things happen, you can rely on those people. Right. Several, I think it was last year around this time, when the fires were raging in Malibu, considerable portions of Ventura County were without power. It was during those moments where I finally met my neighbors, because we were going out seeing if anybody needed help. Right. And, I was thinking to myself during that time, I'm like, why didn't I do this before? Right. Why aren't I doing this already? And, we do a lot of good work in our local chapter building community, but oftentimes the first step for any individual is just to get to know your neighbors. Right.
Build up your community, build up your support system. I remember growing up, my family, they knew all the neighbors, at least 2 or 3 houses either way. Yeah. And it was power's out, or hey, I'm not going to be able to be home. Can you watch my kids for 30 minutes, an hour? Can you just do something as small as that? And just having the people near you as and I think that also goes against the idea that people are self-interested, that they're only going to do stuff, if they're going to profit from it in some way. And people will make the argument it's reciprocal, it's I don't think anyone's making a calculation in their heads okay, well, if I watch their kid for an hour today, that means in 2 weeks time I could have them
they owe me an hour of their time.
Right. Yeah, I don't think anyone's thinking that way. I think people do it out of the goodness of their heart, and people want to do that thing for people, even if it never gets paid back.
Yeah. And building those foundations is so crucial. And I got to talk about our boy, Zoran Mamdani.
Okay, yeah.
How did you feel during the inauguration, and what do you think of his work so far?
I was super excited. Well, first when I saw that he was popular, I'll go back a little bit further. Yeah. I was like, dude, hell yeah, this is awesome. I can't wait for him to stick it to Cuomo. And then the debates happened, and you had that weird line about, where's the first country you're gonna visit after you get elected? Yeah. And I'll get back to that, but yeah, just being just elated that he won, and I come from it as someone who's skeptical of what a politician can do, right? Politicians they only have so much power, and especially a socialist politician working within a capitalist framework, there are so many safeguards that capitalists have to prevent work from being done. Yeah. So I'm skeptical of what one mayor can do, but I think that the way that Zoran has approached it is hey, listen, I didn't get voted in myself. It took thousands upon thousands of people knocking on doors, getting this thing done. It took a collective group of people to work together to get me here, and it's going to take a collective group of people to continue pushing policies forward. And I think that the idea that, or the push, or the idea that that it's not just, one person who made this thing happen, who bends the world to his real will. I think they call that great man theory, right?
Sure,
the idea that individuals shape the course of history. I don't think that's the case at all. Zoran recognizes that. I think socialists recognize it's not one person who shapes the course of history.
Yeah.
It's the people underneath them who gave them that power. They're just kind of maybe taking advantage of it, or like they're some sort of conduit for the general will of people. And so I was super late. I was super excited. Some of the stuff that's passed, some of his, what are they called? The executive actions.
Yeah, he basically deleted all of the executive orders from Eric Adams' administration after he was indicted on criminal charges.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there was that. There was day one. He's immediately cracking down on landlords.
Right.
Just this week, he met with Governor Hochul, and now they have a proposal for universal childcare on the table. After literally 6 months ago, she was like, I don't know if we can do it. You know, I don't want to raise taxes, but now it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, he seems to be a man of action.
Yeah.
And I really hope that continues.
The energy is there too. Like, these politicians who were like previously were like, I don't know. It's like they're seeing that he's popular and people, they love him. People from outside of the state, even the city love him. And I think you can't just be like, I don't want to side with this guy because it's going to raise taxes. Like, if that's what people want, you better give it to them. Otherwise, you're going to be out of there. You know?
It's true.
And I think that like if I would like Zoran to do anything else, it would just be to build more ways for people to have more democratic control over processes in government. I think there's been some talk of like assemblies where people can come together and like come up with resolutions of their own.
Yeah, I believe he's creating like a department of engagement or something that's gonna like reach out to voters to get them more involved in something.
Yeah.
So some good stuff happening, and I think like especially since he's like really kind of the face of DSA right now at this moment, at least. We're going to see what it looks like for the left to govern.
Yeah.
And, there have been, we have our Rashida Tlaibs, our Ilhan Omars, our AOCs. But I think New York City's so different.
Yeah.
It's really like, it really is kind of the capital of the United States. If not, at least, it's certainly the capital of international commerce.
Right.
And to have a socialist in that place, the owning class is going to be shivering in their boots.
Yeah, it's sort of a proof of concept, right?
Yeah. Like I can't imagine he filmed the videos of going to apartments and being like, oh, when did this tile break? And they're like, oh, 4 years ago, and no one's done anything about it. Like if I was that landlord, I'd be shitting my pants.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And then I think one of the things I liked was like the idea of going after landlords who are repeat offenders, like where they're consistently not keeping up with like building codes and stuff, or they're consistently not meeting tenant needs.
Yeah.
I think that's super important too, because I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be, like you said, shitting their pants because they haven't been doing those things because it's not cost effective. You know, it's not profitable to fix things. They're already paying the rent.
Yep.
Like what's fixing it going to do? Are they going to pay more rent? No, just wait another year and then just up the rent again.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So good news coming out of New York. To keep it on a national scale, on the day we're filming this, we're filming on a national day of action called on by DSA in conjunction with other organizations to protest the illegal attack that the U.S. inflicted on Caracas, Venezuela, and the capture of Maduro and his wife. What was your reaction to that, and what is your broader reaction to this like rapid escalation in the imperialist U.S. foreign policy?
It's probably no surprise. Like, oh, U.S. imperialism, war for oil, blood for oil.
Yep.
I remember when I heard the news, I was on my way to work and just being like, oh, okay, like, don't even know what to say. Half the time, I don't even know what to say. It's just you got to keep it pushing,
Yeah.
But I just remember just being shocked and kind of just thinking about it on my way to work, and just
Yeah.
another thing that's happened. I don't know. Like sometimes I think about it and it's like, okay, well now this so and so, this conservative guy that I was arguing with, who like thinks that Trump's going to bring about like world peace, is like now I get to tell him he's wrong. It's like, yeah, okay, that great, Josh. Like you get to tell a guy he's wrong. Cool, dude. So worth it, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been like really I don't know, it's really hard to see, and just kind of like
Yeah.
you just kind of like the way you're consuming this is like just purely through like your phone or through images on your laptop or something.
Yeah.
So like at a certain level, it's like you got that distance from it.
Yeah.
And then not trying not to allow yourself to be too distant from it as well.
Yeah. I mean, you said just earlier, like the antidote to anxiety is action. And like, I always tell folks the same thing. And like, if I consumed as much news as I did and didn't do any organizing work, I'd be insane.
Yeah.
I would totally lose my mind. And I think it's kind of what pushes a lot of people to tune this stuff out.
Right.
Where it's just like, you see all the horror coming out of Gaza and Ukraine, and the ice raids happening, and natural disasters, and it's like, yeah, I totally understand why people just tune that out,
Right?
Because it's like they've got their own shit going on,
Right. Why would you want to look at atrocity footage every single day?
Yeah, but on the other end, it's like, the reason you feel that way is because you're a human, like you care about other people,
Right.
and I think it's more than a reasonable response to try and get organized. And I think, like I said, getting to know your neighbors, joining a local org, joining a local DSA chapter, someone runs for office, local office, get involved, do some stuff, like get in a mutual aid group.
Yeah.
It really is like the antidote to anxiety. And like, we are living in an age of anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's, people got to get involved.
Yeah.
And it's incumbent on DSA to reach out to more people. Flood the what's the thing Steve Bannon said, like flood the airwaves. Like make leftist content. Like go on podcasts, make shows, do videos talking about Zoran. The reason why he won that campaign was because of his kick-ass media team.
Yeah.
And they were like chopping up videos every day. And, obviously it helps to run a campaign.
It helps to run a campaign that people like,
Yeah. And DSA is planning on, running a candidate for president. And, we will be, whenever that happens, that kicks off, that campaign's got to be loud and it's got to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And I hope that chapters like us and others can contribute to that.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to jump in on something you said about like when you see like atrocity footage too, you get like, it's human to like have a reaction to that.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's like super unfortunate about the current system we live in, is that because people don't have the power to change that, they're not given an opportunity to change that. Like, I mean, the Israel in Gaza is super unpopular in the U.S., yet we're still in there. We're still funding it.
Yep.
Let alone like just not doing anything. We're not just neutral. We're like actually actively participating in it. So when you don't give people the power to change something like that, you take away their humanness, because now they're essentially forced to not look away. You're telling them, oh, here's this horrible thing that we're doing. Your government's like actively participating and funding it, and there's nothing you can do about it because the people you voted in aren't going to change. So what's your option? Is to deny that humanness in yourself and be like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to turn it off. I'm going to block whatever Instagram page is posting this stuff, or I'm just going to quickly scroll past it because I don't want to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, as a membership coordinator, like when you're, when people are approaching you and are saying like, I want to get involved, like the stuff around me is, it's terrible. Like, what can I do to help? And like, what do you say to those folks?
I tend to offer like a sort of like concept of, like I said, like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like it's a small accumulation of things. Like even in our present time, like we have like our socialist forefathers who were actively organizing, you know, who were organizing during the McCarthy era, you know, who are still fighting back when, you know, people were like getting sent up to tribunals and
getting
stuff.
blackbagged. Yeah.
So like we're kind of piggybacking off their backs, you know, and I like to think of myself in a tradition of socialists, and maybe I won't see socialism in my time, but I would like to be able to have said that I helped build the base for when socialism is built in the future. You know,
sure.
I think if you were to look back on your time as an, you know, on your deathbed or something, and, you know, things were worse or things were better, but I think a lot of people might feel guilty about like, oh, I didn't do anything, you know, this was happening and I didn't do anything to stop it, or I wasn't involved in helping to stop it, or because I maybe even actively participate in it, you know? So I just like to give the idea that like, small changes do add up, you know?
Yeah.
What can one person do? Yeah, that's true. One person can't do a bunch.
Yeah.
But what can, like, you know, 100 individuals do, you know, together? The whole is greater than its parts.
Yeah, it brings me back to when I was in my grad program at Northridge, and during 2024, when the student encampment movement really picked up. And there wasn't an official encampment at Northridge, but there were a lot of demonstrations and teach-ins and actions that with their local YDSA chapter, I helped organize. And I remember being at some of those events, and especially like after the incident at like UCLA, when the encampment was stormed by a bunch of thugs and the police didn't do anything.
Right.
I remember like the day after that happened, I went to an event and I was like, man, I don't know, like this is kind of scary. But I look back on it now and it's like, yeah, like that whole student movement for the encampments for divestment, like that really made a difference in public opinion. And like, you know, we're more than 2 years into this horrible genocide, and now I think you ask your average person on the street, like they'll say they're against it. And it's like, it's because like those local orgs, you know, in clubs on campuses, like have been pressing against this like moment after moment. And it adds up.
Yeah.
And like, you know, action is the antidote to anxiety, but also you got to take the W when you get it. You know, there's a lot of people, you know, are jumping to judge like Zoran's transition team, or like, you know, that New York isn't a socialist state on week 1, you know, or whatever. And it's like, you got to like you got to take time to like celebrate the W's, man.
Right.
Like we have the first socialist Muslim, you know, card carrying socialist mayor in New York history. And it's like, that's pretty fucking big, man.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
Yeah. I mean, like, even if it's just a testament to how popular the ideas of socialism are.
Yeah.
You know, even if he's like forestalled by capitalist forces. Like I said, I'm also skeptical of like electoral politics.
Sure.
You like you said, you take the wins when you can get them.
Yeah.
I'm still excited. I mean, even if, you know, not much else changes after this week 1, you know, like the forces of capital come bearing down on Zoran and they put a stop to what he can. I think it helps to expose like those forces, because some people think, oh, these things can't change because it's too hard. It's like, no, they can't change because people are actively working against those changes.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. People think that it's just, you know, it's just hard to get those things done. Like a lot of Democrats like to advocate for the idea of like incrementalism or slow change. And then they never end up doing anything, you know?
Yeah. And he won in a landslide. And it's important that his supporters, whether that be in New York City or elsewhere, stay with him, because he needs that mandate in order to get this stuff done. The only reason he's able to get a universal childcare proposal on the table week 1 is because of how popular the position was, first of all, but how all of his supporters stayed behind him to where the governor of New York couldn't ignore it.
Right.
Because like I said, 6 months before, she was like, maybe we're
not going to do that.
Yeah, we'll see when it gets here. And now it's like if she doesn't do it, there's going to be a target on her back.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's effective politics right there. And
he's got that popular mandate.
The Democratic leadership should take note. So, but yeah, we got a long year ahead of us. What are some of your New Year's revolutions?
New Year's resolutions.
Yeah. What are some of your goals?
Goals. I feel like when I got elected to the membership coordinator, I made a pretty big ask of let's increase our membership by 100 members.
Yeah.
And I remember being we'll probably get half of that max. You know, we've already blown past I think 70 members.
Yeah.
We're super close. We're really close to 100 members, and we still have a couple months left. So I guess my revolution is get more members.
Yeah.
My other revolution is get more of those members involved, get more engagement. People need to be out on the streets, and people want to be out on the streets. They just need something.
They need structure.
Yes. Yeah. They need organization.
They need a local chapter. Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's just getting more people to join the chapter, you know what? Even if you're I don't like DSA, DSA, they love the Democrats too much. It's okay, join PSL, join RCA. I don't care. Join a socialist or communist organization. Just join somebody and do something. I like action. You have to do something.
Yeah.
You can't sit on your ass and not do anything. You need to do something.
And
and
it's you don't have to immediately be out on the streets with a megaphone. You can do list work. You can call your plan events.
Yeah. If you're good at Excel spreadsheets, an organization needs somebody who's good at that.
Yeah.
If you're good at, I don't know, making phone calls or talking to people, we need that too. If you can do stuff from home, and I think a lot of the times there was a lie I used to tell myself when I was younger. It was that I don't have any time. And then I would look at my phone usage time and I would see 6 hours a day. And it's I have time. So
Yes.
if you're telling me you don't have time, I urge you to look me in the eyes and show me your cell phone usage every day and show me what your average looks like. And then tell me again with a straight face that you don't have time. Because I bet 99% of people are looking at this on Instagram right now and not, how else are you going to see it, right?
Yeah.
So if you're watching this on Instagram right now, it's come on, man. You have some time to make a couple phone calls. Just go to a social, that's not even work. That's just hanging out and having a coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I was talking with our coach here earlier, and they're a working mother, and which is essentially 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
But she's also the co-chair of a local chapter, and I was how do you do this? How do you make time for this?
Yeah, Kelly's crazy.
Yeah, Kelly, and she's I have a really amazing partner who is able to manage time with me, and I have a good social circle, and a lot of people are working full time and feel like they can't get involved in organizing because they'll let people down, or they don't have time. And I think just doing really small things, making really small asks of members to start that train, to be can you do this small thing? Can you make this phone call? And then after that, they can tell themselves, hey, I'm organizing, I'm doing something, and I like that. I want to do more of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make time. And so, I think these are all really good thoughts.
Yeah.
And I think, 2026 is going to be a huge year of growth for DSA.
Yeah.
Because of people like you, people thousands of DSA members across.
Like you.
And so, yeah, it's this year, 2025 is really rough.
I'm super excited for this year.
Yeah, 2025 is rough. This year is going to be a doozy as well.
Yeah, it started off pretty shitty.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I do have a small ask of everybody in the audience. If you can, the thing that takes the least amount of time is to like and subscribe, follow us on, whatever. But just shoot likes, engage with the post, just elevate the post, share the posts.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't take any time. If you don't want to do that, then I don't know what to tell you.
And if you have a little time, go to dsausa.org/join to join your local chapter or OC today.
Yeah.
And you have any last thoughts for
no, just the shameless plugging. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Yeah. We can end on that one.
Yeah. So to become a member of DSA, you go to dsausa.org/join, and then you fill out your information and you select what kind of dues you want. And then you get a card you're a card carrying member, and you get full democratic rights in your local chapter. And,
Yeah.
You know, you
The
could
go ahead.
you could even get involved in. We have a lot of national committees, you know, international committees as well. So
Yeah, and if you're like dues, I don't know how much I want to pay. It's pay as you may. Like I know people are paying like $2 a month. You could go as far down to $1 a month.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth it. You know, even if it's just to get the cool red card that comes in the mail.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
And if you are paying dues already, you should consider upping to solidarity dues.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll cover some of those people.
Give your 1% to the 99%. Nice.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much for joining with us, Josh.
Yeah, of course.
We've got lots of work to do, and it's going to be a good year.
It's gonna be a good year.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.